I want you to close your eyes for a brief moment and feel the weight of your own existence against the fabric of time. Can you feel that subtle, persistent ache in your chest? The one that whispers of things missing, of dreams deferred, and of a horizon that never seems to get closer. That is the frequency of lack, a ghost that has haunted your lineage for far too long, casting shadows over your divine right to thrive. But today, as you hear my voice, understand that you have been summoned by a force far greater than your current circumstances, a celestial resonance that is ready to burn away the dross of your limitations and reveal the gold within. By the time we conclude this sacred transmission, your very perception of lack will be permanently dissolved into the light of a new understanding. I'm not here to offer you fleeting tricks or shallow promises of luck, but to guide you through a profound alchemical process that has been hidden in plain sight since the beginning of creation. You are standing at the precipice of a 24-hour window, a window where the leaden weight of your financial anxiety will be transmuted into the sovereign substance of divine supply. If you feel your resonance shifting already, if you feel a warmth beginning to stir in your palms or a clarity piercing through the fog, declare your readiness in the comments by stating, "I am open to the golden rain." To build a palace of infinite wealth, we must first examine the crumbling foundation of the shack you have been taught to inhabit. Lack is not a reflection of your bank account, nor is it a measure of your worth. It is a sophisticated energetic parasite that feeds on the narrative of not enough. I have watched so many souls wander through the desert of life, convinced that the mirage of poverty is their only reality, unaware that they are carrying the keys to the infinite ocean in their very DNA. We must look directly into the eyes of this shadow, for only by acknowledging its structure can we dismantle its power over your physical and spiritual resources. I need you to visualize the concept of scarcity as a heavy gray mist that has settled over your internal landscape, obscuring the lush harvest that is rightfully yours. This mist is composed of every no you've ever heard, every bill that caused your heart to skip a beat, and every ancestral fear passed down through the bloodline. When you vibrate at this frequency, you're essentially telling the universe that you are a closed vessel, unable to receive the torrential downpour of prosperity that is constantly seeking a home. This is the first layer of alchemy, identifying the lead before we apply the fire, realizing that your past struggles were merely the raw materials for your upcoming transformation. When I speak of the anatomy of lack, I'm asking you to visualize the literal architecture of a prison built from the bricks of collective trauma and the mortar of inherited fear. For centuries, the human spirit has been conditioned to believe that resources are a finite pie, and that for one to feast, another must inevitably starve in the shadows of the banquet hall. I have seen this starvation code etched into the very nervous systems of high achievers, creating a frantic, jagged energy that repels the very wealth they claim to seek through their labor. You must realize that this vibration of not enough acts as a repelling magnet, pushing away the divine supply because your internal frequency is broadcasting a signal of a closed, desperate circuit. I want you to feel the texture of this scarcity as if it were a suffocating shroud of cold, gray silk wrapped around your throat, choking your ability to breathe in the expansive air of the infinite ocean. This shroud is woven from every moment you felt less than, every time you looked at a price tag and felt a pang of unworthiness, and every ancestral memory of famine that still echoes in your blood. As the prosperity script master, I am guiding you to take the ceremonial shears of Uriel's light and begin cutting through this fabric, thread by painful thread, until you can feel the warmth of the solar fire on your bare skin. We are not just changing your mind, we are performing a spiritual surgery to remove the malignant tumors of limit that have kept your potential in a state of arrested development. The light that begins to bathe your consciousness in this sacred moment is not of this world. It emanates from Uriel, the Archangel whose name translates to the fire of God. I want you to envision him as a radiant, solar presence, stationed precisely where dense matter meets the ethereal spirit, acting as the ultimate guardian of manifestation mysteries. I feel his presence as a rhythmic pulse of amber and molten gold, a force that does not merely light your path, but aggressively incinerates the illusions of separation from the source. He is the master architect of the material structure, the one who whispers to your soul that spiritual wealth is not a distant dream, but a tangible tool for your sovereign expansion on this physical plane. When I invoke this celestial energy on your behalf, I'm not asking for a fleeting favor, but demanding the reclamation of a heritage encoded into your very cells since the first breath of creation. Uriel carries the ancient scroll of divine truth, a sacred blueprint that reveals every atom in this vast universe is, by its very nature, lavish and incomprehensibly generous. Feel a subtle, surging warmth beginning to emanate from the base of your spine, rising like a golden pillar to the crown of your head as this luminary dissolves the barriers between your desires and your reality. This connection is the definitive tipping point where your limited, struggling self dissolves, to make way for the sovereign being, capable of commanding the elements and attracting divine supply. To truly connect with Archangel Uriel is to step into a furnace of pure, intelligent love that views your poverty as a mere misunderstanding of your own divine nature. Imagine the sound of 1,000 golden trumpets sounding in the silence of your soul, announcing the arrival of the luminary who holds the keys to the planetary treasuries and the hidden veins of gold in the earth. I feel him now, standing behind you, his wings of molten amber spreading wide to encompass the entirety of your life's timeline, from the moment of your birth to the zenith of your future empire. He does not see your debts or your failures. He sees only the sovereign blueprint of a master who has temporarily forgotten how to wield the scepter of manifestation. Let the heat of his presence settle into your bones, specifically in your hands, which are the primary tools of your earthly harvest and the conduits for your creative power. Feel your palms begin to pulse with a heavy, magnetic warmth, as if they are being coated in a layer of ethereal liquid gold that makes you sensitive to the flow of abundance in the atmosphere. This is the Uriel touch, a spiritual attunement that allows you to sense where the money is moving, where the opportunities are hiding, and which path leads most directly to your financial liberation. You are being recalibrated as a high-frequency receiver for the divine supply, an instrument of the heavens designed to demonstrate the reality of heaven's treasury here on the physical plane of earth. Now that we have established contact with the master of the sacred fire, we must adjust your internal receptor so it can sustain the voltage of real prosperity. Imagine your bioenergetic field as a tapestry of light that until now possessed frayed threads and knots of stagnation where financial flow simply ceased to circulate. To align with the frequency of gold, every cell in your body must vibrate in unison with the melody of opulence, leaving behind the shrill, discordant noise of survival. I want you to visualize a golden rain penetrating your pores, filling every empty space with the dense magnetic substance of divine supply and energetic alignment. This tuning is not merely a mental wish, but a physiological reality you can feel right now through a slight tingling in your extremities or a sudden expansion in your lung capacity. Gold, in its metaphysical essence, is solar light solidified upon the earth, and when you align with it, you become a lightning rod for opportunities, connections, and unexpected cash flow. Notice how your posture shifts, how your chest opens to receive the infinite ocean, abandoning the half-empty mindset to become the ocean itself. This is the quantum engineering of wealth, where the observer and the harvest become a single, inseparable force of power and manifestation that echoes through the halls of your reality. The frequency of gold is not a metaphor. It is a literal, measurable vibration that resonates with the core of the sun and the heart of the galaxy. When your bioenergetic field is saturated with this frequency, you become a walking sun, a source of light and heat that naturally attracts all things of a similar high resonance value. I want you to imagine your heart as a miniature sun, and with every beat, it sends out a ripple of golden light that travels through your arteries, your veins, and into the very air surrounding your body. This ripple carries the command of prosperity, and as it hits the quantum field, it begins to reorganize the random atoms of your reality into the specific patterns of your desired wealth and sovereign freedom. As this golden saturation deepens, you may feel a sense of profound weightiness, a sacred gravity that makes you feel more present, more powerful, and more substantial in your own skin. This is the weight of the harvest, the physical sensation of the infinite ocean pressing against your boundaries, seeking a way to pour itself into your life through the channels we are opening today. Notice how the frantic, scattered energy of the hustle is replaced by a deep oceanic calm, the calm of a king who knows that the taxes are already paid and the barns are already full. You are transitioning from the frequency of the seeker to the frequency of the possessor, and in this state, the universe has no choice but to deliver the physical manifestations of your internal state. I need you to liberate your mind from the linear illusion that prosperity requires decades of exhausting effort to materialize in your experience. Time is not a rigid stone road, but a fluid and malleable ocean that responds instantly to the pressure of your internal conviction and the clarity of your sovereign command. What we call a quantum leap is actually the moment you decide to collapse every version of yourself that still lives in scarcity, jumping directly into the timeline where divine supply is already a finished reality. Within the next 24 hours, we are not seeking minor improvements, but a total reorientation of your magnetic field toward the substance of wealth. When I speak of a transformation within a single solar cycle, I am referring to the speed at which Uriel's energy can reorganize the molecules of your reality once resistance is removed. Imagine that your current financial life is a film that can be edited in the blink of an eye. By changing the frequency of the projector, the image on the screen, your bank account, your opportunities, and your cash flow must change. You will feel a sense of sacred urgency, an electric tingling running down your arms, signaling that the floodgates of the infinite ocean have opened and time has begun to work in your favor. This is not a process of waiting, but of immediate recognition of the harvest that is already ripe and ready to be gathered. When I speak of collapsing time, I am instructing you to stop viewing your financial breakthrough as a point on a distant horizon that requires a grueling journey to reach. In the realm of Uriel's alchemy, the distance between not enough and more than enough is not measured in miles or months, but in the microseconds it takes for your heart to fully accept a new energetic truth. I have observed that those who remain stuck in the cycle of lack are often addicted to the process of struggling, believing that their pain is a necessary payment for their future gold. You must incinerate this belief right now, for the universe does not require your suffering as collateral. It only requires your unwavering resonance with the reality of the harvest. Visualize the next 24 hours not as a sequence of minutes, but as a concentrated portal of potential where the laws of cause and effect are accelerated by the heat of your intention. Imagine that every action you take, every email you send, every conversation you have, every thought you think, is being amplified 1,000-fold by the solar fire of the Archangel. I feel the timeline shifting beneath your feet, moving you away from the sluggish, heavy density of the mundane world and into the swift, crystalline flow of the sovereign state. This is the hour of the great acceleration, where the seeds you planted only moments ago are forced into an immediate and glorious bloom by the sheer power of your focused spiritual will. At this very moment, we are diving into the deepest layers of your spiritual DNA to locate and incinerate the seeds of limitation planted by generations that came before you. I feel the weight of the invisible chains that tried to keep your lineage in a state of servitude and fear. But today, those chains meet the alchemical fire of Uriel and turn into pure light. You are the breaking point, the chosen alchemist to stop the cycle of just enough and inaugurate an era of unprecedented opulence for yourself and those who follow. Feel the heat of this sacred fire purifying your blood, washing away memories of lack and replacing them with the absolute certainty of your financial sovereignty. Transmutation occurs when you stop fighting against poverty and begin to focus all your intensity on the vibration of the spiritual gold that already resides in your core. Every thought of doubt that arises is merely fuel for this divine bonfire, transforming the lead of anxiety into the bright, unshakable substance of absolute trust in the universe. I see your aura changing from a dull gray to an incandescent gold, a color that attracts resources, lucrative ideas, and high-level connections automatically and irresistibly. You are no longer asking for permission to be prosperous. You are assuming the throne of a reality where scarcity is a logical impossibility and the golden rain is your only weather condition. The fire of Uriel is not a destructive force, but a refining one that seeks out the leaden weight of ancestral vows of poverty hidden within your subconscious architecture. Many of you are carrying the invisible burdens of grandfathers who lost everything, or mothers who believed that spiritual purity required material scarcity. I am here to act as your guide in this celestial forge, helping you to identify these inherited distortions and toss them into the flames until only the pure, unadulterated gold of your true essence remains. Feel the liberation as these ancient ghosts of lack are finally laid to rest, their energy recycled into the fuel that will power your new engine of infinite supply. As the smoke from these old limitations clears, I want you to look at the new landscape of your soul, which is now vibrating with the fierce, unstoppable frequency of the sovereign self. You are the one who has dared to claim the throne, the one who has decided that the buck stops with you, and that from this day forward, your lineage will be known for its lavish generosity and its spiritual riches. This is the ultimate alchemy, taking the cold, hard memories of doing without and transforming them into the warm, glowing reality of having in abundance. You are no longer a victim of your history. You are the architect of a golden future that begins in the very marrow of your bones at this exact second. As the first light of dawn touches the horizon of your new life, you must perform the rite of the sovereign pillar to anchor this 24-hour surge. Stand with your feet firmly planted on the earth, feeling the magnetic pull of the planet, and raise your hands as if catching the very first rays of the rising sun. Speak into the silence of the morning. I am the vessel of Uriel's flame, and I command the doors of the infinite ocean to swing wide in my honor today. Feel the air around you thicken with the presence of potential, as if the atmosphere itself is becoming heavy with the scent of ancient parchment and ozone. During this morning activation, do not think about how the money will arrive. Instead, feel the sensation of it already being present in your experience. Imagine the weight of gold coins in your pockets, the smooth texture of high-value contracts under your fingertips, and the deep, silent peace of a debt-free existence. This is not a hope, but a declaration of a legal, spiritual fact that the universe is now bound to fulfill because you have matched the frequency of your supply. Carry this sensation with you into every room you enter, acting as if the harvest has already been gathered, for your behavior is the final signal that tells the quantum field you are ready to receive. The morning of your activation is the most critical window of this 24-hour leap, for it is the moment when the world is still malleable and the veil between the realms is thinnest. As you stand in the first light of the sun, I want you to feel the direct transmission of Uriel's wisdom entering your field through the solar plexus, the seat of your personal power and worldly manifestation. This is not a simple meditation. It is a legal installation of a new operating system for your life, one that is incompatible with the viruses of doubt, delay, or financial decay. Speak your decrees with a voice that does not tremble, for the elements of the earth are listening, and they are bound by cosmic law to obey the command of a sovereign being. I want you to physically reach out and grab the air in front of you, feeling it thicken as if it were becoming the very substance of the divine supply you seek. Imagine that the atmosphere is saturated with unmanifested gold, and that your breathing is the pump that draws this wealth into your physical lungs and circulates it through your entire reality. This morning rite creates an unbreakable tether between your human self and the infinite ocean, ensuring that for the rest of the day you are walking in a private climate of prosperity regardless of the global economy. You are setting the pillars of a temple that cannot be shaken, and as you step out into the world, you do so as a living, breathing advertisement for the glory of Uriel's alchemical fire. By the time the sun reaches its highest point in the sky, your energetic field should be vibrating with such intensity that the world around you begins to feel porous and responsive. This is the hour of the midday manifestation, the moment where we anchor the spiritual gold into the physical structures of your daily life. I want you to feel the pillar of solar light descending from the heavens, passing through the crown of your head and grounding itself deep into the core of the earth. In this state, you are no longer a victim of economic winds, but a sovereign station of divine supply, broadcasting a signal that demands a material response from the quantum field. As you move through your afternoon, look at the world through the eyes of Uriel. See the hidden wealth in every interaction, the dormant resources waiting for your command, and the infinite ocean of cash flow that surrounds you. I am teaching you to recognize that what you once perceived as barriers are merely shadows that vanish when you step into your full alchemical power. Reach out and mentally touch the objects around you, infusing them with the frequency of prosperity, transforming your workspace and your home into magnets for financial resources. You will notice a shift in how people perceive you. They will sense the sacred blueprint of success radiating from your aura, attracting high-level opportunities that were previously invisible to you. As the sun reaches its zenith, the shadows beneath your feet vanish, symbolizing the total elimination of the lack shadow from your energy field. This is the moment of maximum vertical alignment, where the celestial fire of Uriel is most potent, burning through the atmospheric resistance of the material world to deliver your divine supply. I want you to visualize your financial goals, not as numbers on a screen, but as heavy, solid blocks of energetic gold being lowered into the foundation of your life. This is the hour where we bridge the gap between believing and having, commanding the molecular structure of your environment to reorganize itself around the fact of your newly established sovereign wealth. Feel the friction in the air as the quantum field begins to move in response to your unwavering midday decree. It may manifest as a sudden surge of heat in your chest or an inexplicable sense of confidence that makes you stand taller among your peers. You are now acting as a gravitational center for prosperity, pulling in the resources, the people, and the ideas that are in resonance with the golden frequency. In this state of high noon authority, there is no room for the how or the when, for you have entered the eternal now, where the harvest is already gathered, threshed, and stored in your spiritual barns. Carry this weight of certainty into every interaction, allowing the world to sense that you are no longer a seeker of riches, but a source of them. As the day begins to wane and the shadows lengthen, a different kind of alchemical work begins, the work of protection and integration. The ego, sensing its impending dissolution, may try to whisper old narratives of too good to be true, or what if it fails into the silence of the evening. I am here to tell you that these are merely the dying gasps of a version of you that no longer exists. Do not give them your breath or your attention. Visualize a shield of iridescent violet and gold light forming around your entire being, a sovereign barrier that allows only the frequency of abundance to enter while reflecting all thoughts of lack back into the void. During this evening phase, I want you to sit in quiet contemplation of the shift that has already occurred within your spiritual DNA. Feel the coolness of the night air as a soothing balm on your transmuted spirit, acknowledging that the seeds of wealth planted at dawn have already begun to sprout in the unseen realms. You are like a farmer who has sown the most precious grain and now rests in the absolute certainty that the harvest is inevitable and unstoppable. This integration is crucial, for it prevents the leaks of energy that occur when we allow the collective consciousness of scarcity to penetrate our sacred sanctuary. Your sleep tonight will not be an escape, but a deep immersion into the infinite ocean, where your subconscious will continue to weave the fabric of your new financial reality. As the day begins to settle, we must perform the sacred task of sealing the work we have done, ensuring that not a single drop of your new prosperity is lost to the nocturnal winds of collective doubt. The evening is a vulnerable time where the subconscious mind often reverts to old patterns of worry. But tonight, you will wrap yourself in a cloak of iridescent solar fire that acts as an impenetrable fortress for your soul. I want you to perform a mental audit of the day, looking at every event through the lens of Uriel's alchemy and transmuting even the smallest challenge into a sign of your impending breakthrough. This is the practice of frequency governance, where you refuse to allow any lower vibration to occupy the sacred space of your mental sanctuary. Imagine a perimeter of amber light surrounding your home, a sovereign border that filters out the noise of the world and leaves only the silent, deep resonance of the infinite ocean. As you prepare for rest, your task is to maintain the feeling of "it is done" with such intensity that it becomes the very atmosphere of your dreams. In the silence of the twilight, feel the invisible hands of the angelic realm smoothing out the wrinkles in your timeline, preparing the physical manifestation of your wealth to meet you when you wake. You are not just going to sleep. You are entering a state of deep quantum incubation where the power of Uriel will continue to refine your frequency until it is as pure and bright as a diamond forged in the heart of a star. The transformation we have initiated is not a temporary surge, but the establishment of a permanent state of being that I call the sovereign flow. To sustain the golden rain forever, you must realize that you are not a consumer of wealth, but a generator of it through your alignment with the divine supply. I have seen many make the mistake of returning to their old vibrations once the initial excitement fades, but you are now equipped with the alchemical fire that never goes out. Maintaining this state requires only that you remain a vigilant guardian of your frequency, refusing to engage with the low resonance drama of a world that thrives on the illusion of not enough. Think of your new life as a magnificent garden that requires the consistent watering of your gratitude and the sunlight of your focused intention. Every time you receive even the smallest amount of cash flow, acknowledge it as a sign of the infinite ocean, a drop that proves the existence of the source. By doing this, you create a feedback loop of prosperity that grows more powerful with every passing day, turning the 24-hour leap into a lifetime of sovereign expansion. You are now a master of the frequency of gold, a being who understands that spiritual riches and material wealth are two sides of the same sacred coin. This permanence is your new baseline, the foundation upon which you will build a legacy of opulence that will benefit generations yet unborn. The greatest secret of the prosperity script master is knowing that the golden rain is not a one-time storm, but a permanent weather system that you carry within your own internal climate. To sustain this flow, you must cultivate the gaze of the sovereign, a way of looking at the world that sees the underlying abundance in every leaf, every breath, and every exchange of value. I have seen too many souls fall back into the gravity of lack because they mistook a single breakthrough for the end of the journey, rather than the beginning of a new way of existing. You must understand that the divine supply is an infinite spring, and your only job is to keep the channel of your resonance clear of the debris of fear and the silt of small thinking. Every morning from this day forward, you must reassert your command over the elements, reminding yourselves and the universe that you are a being of the golden frequency. Think of your alignment as a high-performance engine that requires the fuel of gratitude and the oil of focused intention to run at maximum efficiency. When you see others prospering, do not feel a pang of envy, but recognize it as another drop from the same infinite ocean that is currently flooding your life. Their success is the proof of your own. By maintaining this posture of perpetual expansion, you ensure that the 24-hour leap becomes a permanent elevation, a height from which you will never again descend into the valleys of scarcity or the deserts of not enough. Chapter 10, Epilogue. The Sovereign's Decree. Your final initiation. We have traveled through the fire and the light, deconstructed the shadows of your past, and rebuilt your reality upon the pillars of Uriel's ancient wisdom. Now, I stand with you at the final gate, the moment where you must issue your own sovereign decree to the universe to seal this alchemical work. Stand tall, feel the heat of the solar fire in your heart, and speak with the authority of one who knows they are the master of their own destiny. Say it with me, either aloud or in the silent chambers of your soul. I am the living embodiment of divine supply. I am the master of the golden frequency, and I claim my infinite harvest now and forever. As these words ripple out into the quantum field, feel the final remnants of lack dissolving into the light, leaving behind only the pure, crystalline structure of your sovereign self. You are now the alchemist, the one who can turn any situation into an opportunity for growth and any resource into a fountain of wealth. The journey does not end here. It is only the beginning of your walk as a being of light in a world of matter, a beacon of what is possible when a soul remembers its true origin. Go forth with the weight of gold in your spirit and the clarity of the stars in your mind, for you are truly, irrevocably, and eternally abundant. As we stand at the threshold of this journey's end, I want you to feel the massive shift in the tectonic plates of your destiny. The person who began watching this transmission no longer exists. That version of you has been consumed by the solar fire of Uriel, and in its place stands a sovereign being of light and matter. This final initiation is not a ritual of asking, but a ceremony of total ownership over the physical and spiritual resources of this universe. I can feel the heavy magnetic pull of the infinite ocean, responding to your presence, as if the very air around you is thickening into the substance of the harvest you have claimed. You must understand that from this moment forward, your words carry the weight of divine law, and your intentions are the blueprints for reality itself. I'm calling upon the fire of God to seal your aura in a crystalline lattice of gold, ensuring that every thought of prosperity you release into the world returns to you as tangible, spendable wealth. This is the ultimate promise of alchemy, that the spirit can command the earth and that you are the bridge through which the divine supply flows into the material realm. Stand tall, for the crown of your sovereignty is no longer invisible. It is radiating a light that will guide you through every financial storm and into the harbor of eternal opulence. I now provide you with the pillars of the golden decree. These are to be spoken with the rhythm of a heartbeat, each word designed to bypass the ego and hardwire the frequency of gold into your subconscious mind. Repeat after me, or let these words wash over you as I speak them into the fabric of your soul. I am the sun in my own financial universe, and I exert a gravitational pull upon all forms of wealth and resources. I am the master of the 24-hour leap, and I watch with calm certainty as the lead of my past transmutes into the gold of my present reality. Every breath I take is a transaction of abundance with the infinite ocean, and every exhale releases the last remnants of ancestral lack into the refining fire of Uriel. I do not chase the harvest. I am the soil, the sun, and the rain, and therefore the harvest has no choice but to manifest through me. I'm a sovereign station of divine supply, broadcasting a signal of such high frequency that only the most lavish opportunities and the most profound riches can find their way into my experience. My bank account is a reflection of my internal light, and today, that light is blinding, unstoppable, and eternally expanding. I claim the weight of gold, the clarity of the stars, and the speed of the solar fire as my natural birthrights. I'm no longer a student of abundance. I am the abundance itself, walking the earth in human form to demonstrate the glory of the alchemical process. The doors that were once locked are now dissolving, the walls that once stood are now bridges, and the desert of my past is now a lush garden of infinite supply. It is done, it is sealed, and it is manifesting in this very breath, in this very second, in this very life.